it's the importance of identifying talent and then developing them. It's not every team is able to develop them the right way, but if you can create a real successful organization.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads us to our next topic. Should we bring him in?
Let's do it.
Do we got Saf on the line? Jonathan Safir, are you at work in the off season?
Is there an off season in college basketball? Do we have his audio?
Can you hear me?
Coach, can we? Hey,
There we go. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yes, I'm in the office. It's a big day, a big time for us right now, right? We have one of our own guys, Ruben Chinilu, with the should he stay or should he go decision. So we've been working, obviously, trying to figure out, from our standpoint, alternatives if Ruben decides to try his luck with the NBA. We feel good and we feel confident, but you never know. So we're in here working, trying to figure out plan Bs if our plan A stays in the draft.
Grinding away. So let's introduce Jonathan Safir for our viewers who don't know. He is a assistant coach for the Florida Gators men's basketball program, one of the architects behind last year's national championship team. Do you have a ring to show off for us, or is that at home? Is it in a safe?
I have a wedding ring. My championship ring's at home.
Your wife will appreciate that. Yeah, that's the one to show off.
Good answer. Good answer.
No doubt. No doubt.
There it is. All right. So you've been able to be a part of a team that's climbed the mountaintop, and you have to assemble talent. You have to evaluate, and there's a lot of things that are kind of part of that building process. But when you built the Florida Gators, helped build that team into a title contender, were you looking for specific players that fit a certain role? I mean, what is, from someone in your seat, what is sort of the goal or perspective as you kind of do analytics and strategy?
Yeah, well, Mike, Andrew, and Jonah, first off, thanks for having me. And Jonah, I think that's an important question and distinction. Obviously, you guys being in Dallas with the Mavs have an awesome NBA franchise, and it's quite different. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences between trying to build and construct a college basketball roster and championship contender in 2026 as it is an NBA one. And I think, obviously, we play in a game right now and in a space right now where we're restricted by much fewer rules than the NBA, and that includes salary cap, that includes contract negotiations, that includes lengths, that includes buyouts or lack thereof, that includes enforceability or lack thereof. It's kind of, for lack of a better term, the wild, wild west, whereas obviously the NBA, those contracts, those players, those teams, it's all collectively bargained. We don't have that. So it's the wild, wild west right now in that regard.
So the really important question of the moment, though, is how is Jonah as a fantasy football player? Like that's really the dirt that we need right now.
Well, he knows we've got mutual friends, so he knows that I may be a ball knower, but
that's how I've been fortunate enough to get to know Jonah through mutual friends who introduced us and said he's definitely a ball knower. And I said, well, I would love to hop on. Jonah texted me out of the blue and said, hey, are you able to hop on our show, able to do media? And I said, of course, why not? It's while I am in the office, it is a little bit quieter now than usual, so I have a little bit of time and fortunate to be able to hop on and talk some ball with you guys.
All right, so Saf, I got to ask you. You said you were at the Combine over the weekend, and you got a last week, and you got a chance to run into Mike Schmitz. Can you kind of just, for those who don't know, what is he like? Off. I guess he's really always been off the court, but what is he like? Personality-wise, what can sort of Mavs fans expect from him, and what was sort of your level of interaction with him? I understand that you guys have sort of run in similar circles for a handful of years now.
Yeah, he's. I don't think you'll find a single person who says a negative word about him, which in a space that is so uber competitive and so cutthroat is probably the single greatest compliment you can give somebody. He's a competitor. He's diligent and thorough in his work and evaluations. I think he's a really pristine and talent evaluator. He's willing to turn over every page and every leaf. And I think he has great people skills as well, which I think is one of the things, as you said, the front office folk are a little bit off the court or whatnot. those who have the elite people skills and can relate to others and can message things in a way that's mutually beneficial can really help themselves. And Mike is fantastic at that. He's an elite communicator. He's fun to be around. He's a great hang. And I think the Mavs got a good one.
So what is the combine like from your lens as you go through that process, as you're looking at these kids that are trying to live out their NBA dream? How much stock do you put in what they do at the combine, and what are the things that maybe you're looking for most that you're trying to evaluate for yourself where these guys stack up and who rates as the better prospect?
Yeah. I mean, for ourselves, the combine for us personally is a little bit different. It's a chance to network with agents. It's a chance to check in on our players. Last year we had Walt Clayton, Elijah Martin, and Alex Condon at the combine, and Ruben Shinyulu and Will Richard at the G League combine. This year we had Xavier Lee at the G League combine and Ruben Shinyulu at the NBA combine. So we were hanging out with Ruben, talking to his agent, seeing what kind of headspace he's in. And then from an evaluation standpoint, you know, it's a little bit different for us than NBA teams. But in talking with NBA teams, I think the combine is a little overstated. I think you play up to 2 5-on-5 games. The top guys don't play any. But it's just another chance to evaluate them. But there's so much film on these guys in 2026 anyways that I don't know how much there is to take away from these 2 combine games. It's more so surefire data points and measurables with regards to height and height with shoes, without shoes, wingspan. I think a lot of the actual athleticism, as long as you're at a certain threshold or directionally in an area, becomes a little bit overstated. Whether someone's running 1/10 of a second faster over the course of the length of a court is relatively indifferent in our personal opinions. It's more so to us about trying to identify, the split-second decision-making and things like that translate better on the court and lead to better decision-making and better execution than just how fast someone runs or how high someone jumps. Obviously, that's an important skill set. Don't get me wrong. There's a minimum threshold for sure. But the decision-making, the feel, things of that nature from watching their film and talking to them is, I think, more valuable.
You mentioned the discrepancy between the NCAA and NBA, where the NCAA is a lot more Wild West, but it's also a little bit more professional these days, I would argue, in terms of how it's being run. At least that's the perception on the outside. I'm curious, in your experience, how much has that helped prospects transition from college to the NBA? Does it feel more natural, or does it still kind of have that big jump of responsibility and change of priorities?
No, I think it's definitely helped. I think what you've really seen, too, with the proliferation of NIL is the second round really just becomes a who's who of guys who have expired eligibility. It kind of behooves you to go be the 36th pick and fight for a guaranteed deal. If you're lucky, you're a two-way deal at $600,000 when you can go back to college and make $1.5 to $2.5 to $4 million. So, it's about having the right people in your corner, the right people helping with your decision-making process, the right head agent, family, coaching staff who supports you, all of the above. Like from our standpoint, in 2026, if you can be a surefire top 15 pick, a lottery type pick, and don't necessarily have the ability to enhance your draft stock with another year of college, you should go to the NBA. If the financial compensation is so strong in college, plus you have an opportunity to enhance your draft stock, then you should come back to school. We kind of went through it with Thomas Houck this year. And that was a unique experience, and I think a first of its kind, where a potential top 20 pick, maybe even a lottery pick, decided to return to school. But last year we had it with Alex Condon, who was projected between 20 and 30, and decided to return to school this year. If he stayed in the draft, he probably would have been a late first, early second round pick as well. Decided to return to school. So between Alex and Tommy, we have pretty good proof of concept of laying out the pros and cons, and then just what we try and do is provide such a great opportunity here at Florida and great exposure and helping guys get better and making a strong financial offer in situation where there really is no wrong answer. You have to do what's going to make you happy. You're the one who's ultimately playing this out and living this out. It's not us, it's you. So
you mentioned it a moment ago, just sort of kind of your interpretation of the NBA Combine as it relates to kind of how much it boosts their stock or not. From your lens and from guys you've spoken to at the Combine over the years and agents and teams and anyone in those circles, how much is the NBA Combine really affect a player's draft stock? And let's say they have a bad Combine. Like, is it really going to drop them 10 spots. And I compare it to the NFL draft, right? So guys like that can use the NFL draft and jump rounds and make way more money. But in the NBA combine, how much stock should we really be putting into some of those results?
Well, I think teams put very little into the testing. I mean, the maybe the speed and the playing, because, like I said, they've had so much film on the players, and with regards to the speed, if as long as you're over a certain threshold. But where guys really can go up 4 to 10 slots is height. If you measure taller, or more often than not hurt yourself by measuring much smaller, or in the interview process, it's the first time that teams are able to really sit down and talk to you, and they get you for a solid 15 or 20 minutes in a room with as many people from their organization as they want, and you're just sitting there answering questions. I think that's an opportunity to help yourself or hurt yourself in addition to the height. For example, I think one of the players you kind of talked about or texted me about that we might talk about is Amari Allen. He's someone who was listed at 6'8" on the Alabama website, only measuring in at 6'5" and a quarter, 6'5" and a half. Probably negatively impacts his draft stock. Now, we can discuss, should it impact his draft stock that much, because he's obviously a damn good player, even if he is only 6'5". But I don't know if everybody sees it that way. So I think it hurts him more than it helps him in this case.
And we will get into a lot of the granular elements of some of these prospects that the Mavs are going to consider, both at number 9 and at number 30. More with Jonathan Safir, the assistant coach of the Florida Gators men's basketball team, when we come back on the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show.